Welcome to the Powerful Podcast, where you will learn the marketing, strategies, and beliefs to grow your dream business. Totally possible, and I'm so excited to share this with you. I'm Almira Bardai, and I grew and scaled my own business from zero to multi-millions and sold the business. And now I'm here to teach you exactly how to grow and scale your business from 6 to 7 figures and more with ease, simplicity, joy, and fun with, of course, strategy, mindset, and marketing to take you to that next level. Welcome back to the Powerful Podcast. And I know, and I say it every time, I always have the most amazing people, and this guest is always the most amazing, but there's always a more amazing guest. So here you go. Today you're in for a real treat with Jerremy Alexander Newsome, a good friend, an incredible human, just created the life of his dreams. He's also married to Svetlana Newsome, who I had on earlier in the year, and the life that they've built and the dreams that they have brought to life in their family. It's so magnificent. Just being in their energy is just mind-blowing. And Jerremy is the founder of Real Life Trading. So today we get insights about abundance, and not even insights. It is about wealth creation, wealth mindset, abundance creation, what it actually is. So I'm going to turn it over for Jerremy to tell us his story. And then we're going to talk about wealth creation, creating it, and not just the hard stuff, the actual creation of money and wealth, but also the energetics and the mindset, like abundance behind it. Over to you, Jerremy. Share your wealth of knowledge and how to be wealthy and happy and joyful.
I'm doing my absolute best. That's the goal. We're here to bring in crazy value for all of your amazing listeners. I want to talk about wealth. I want to talk about prosperity. I want to talk about abundance. I want to talk about money. I think money is one of those 4 things you're not supposed to talk about, right? The taboo subjects: sex, religion, politics, and money. Get out of here.
Yep.
And I'm like, politics, religion, and money, like, let's talk about those ASAP, often, please. I'm excited. It's going to be great.
Where did it all start for you?
All started on a beige couch next to my table, which was a door on 4 cinder blocks, watching the movie Forrest Gump with my dad and older brother, Jerry Roger. And we were watching the movie Forrest Gump. I was 6 and some change. This is probably like the summer of 1994 or 1995. Yeah, 1995. And in the movie, we're watching Forrest Gump. 80% of the way through the movie, Forrest Gump says, "Lieutenant Dan invested in some kind of fruit company and said, we don't have to worry about money no more." So I said, good, one less thing. And I never heard anyone ever say they don't have to worry about money. That was a paradigm shift for me. That was a new belief that was a possibility that people could at some point no longer have to worry about money. So I asked my dad, what's investing? What's the fruit company? He obviously tells me about Apple computers and what Apple will probably do, right? Going forward, they're going to sell computers. People are going to use computers, so on and so forth. And I just thought it was the most amazing, incredible aspect of money. And I was like, I begged him, let's buy Apple. Please, let's do that. And he said, son, that's not for us, right? That's for rich people. And gave a lot of his limiting belief, but I begged him and begged him and begged him. And like a loving father would, he said, listen, if you bring me some money, I'll match it dollar for dollar. So I went and one of my favorite quotes, right? It's not our resources, it's our resourcefulness. We can always do anything if we truly want to. If that's actually our goal, if that's actually what we truly, truly want to do, we can make it happen. So I went out and I picked blackberries off of a bush, sold them door to door for $1 a bag. And, a bunch of cute old ladies gave me 10s and 20s and 5s, but I made $1,500 in the summer of like 1995 selling blackberries. And true to his word, my dad, he had to borrow money from my uncle, but we put $3,000 into Apple stock at the very bottom, 1995. And that exact investment today, is worth $31 million. And I sold it, obviously, $30.99 million ago. Sold it in 2000 when I was 12. We were moving from Georgia to Florida, but my dad gave me $12,000. I turned 3,000 into 12,000, and $12,000 as a 12-year-old at the time was, $1 million. And I knew that was something that I want to keep doing. But the real shift, and I didn't learn this until I started working and coaching with Les Brown. The real shift was when he said, "What happened after that pivotal moment?" And after that pivotal moment, when Forrest Gump says that, he also then goes, and you might remember this, he builds a school, a church, a hospital.
Mm.
And so he spends his money on doing great things for the community. And that was also a part that really leveraged into my heart.
Yeah.
And I saw what crazy, awesome, cool things money does for people. And so I just wanted to do a lot more.
I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. And you have done so much. And I know through Brittany Turner, who's also been on here, you have spoken in her retreats. And I know you're working with a number of people to increase their wealth and also just helping in the community and helping others. And your reach has been so powerful, not just because of what you share, but the good of your heart. And as even Brittany would say, is about putting money into the hands of good people. And I think you and Brittany are amazing examples of that. That, because of course there's those limiting stories, those limiting beliefs. Money is the root of all evil and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
actually, money is from the heart and it's the root of all abundance.
Hmm. Amen to that. And you know what's cool? That particular scripture is so interesting because it does say the love of money, but people leave out one keyword, right? It says the love of money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
And what I took that to say in my book, right? Money Grows on Trees. What I really took that to say, and here is the distinguishing difference, right? There's so many people that want a bunch of money. I talk to everyone. Shoot, everyone I talk to wants more money. They
Mm-hmm.
want more money. They want to spend time with money. How much of your day do you think about money? Probably 4 or 5 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day you want more of it. Sure sounds a lot like love.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone subconsciously loves money, but consciously doesn't want to or shouldn't because that means they're going to become evil, they create what's called a disalignment. And then you have two energies, two polarities flowing in two different directions. And so you're not going to attract as much money into your life as quickly.
Yeah.
And so then if you just go, wait a minute, I do love money openly. Yes, I say that. And I am not an evil person because of my actions, because of what I do, because of who I am, because of how I give. I'm truly not an evil person. Knowing that the root system of a tree determines what type of fruit that it grows. If you want to be a greedy person, if you want to be evil, you must love money. It's a requirement. But
Mm.
if you grow and you prosper into a giving, generous, philanthropic, loving tree, it all starts at the root system.
Yes.
And so you get to choose. That's really that's my take on that scripture is you're choosing in the core of who you are and your being what you're going to do with more and more and more money.
Oh my God, I love that. I love that quote from Jay Shetty, where are you planting seeds or are you planting weeds? And it
Hmm.
reminds me about it's not just the roots, it is about the seeds and it's also about the fertilizer. And what is it that you are doing with your whole garden, your whole forest, your whole bounty that's internal? Because of course, if the external is a reference point for what is internally, that it's about the clean, pure thoughts and intention and the desire to be able to be part of the collective and to grow it there. But it all starts internally.
Hmm. Exactly. Internally and spending a lot of time, energy, and effort knowing and getting extreme clarity on really, really important aspects of what money means to particular individuals. So here's an example of that. Amira, what's the amount of money that would absolutely change your life?
To be honest with you, not that if you talk about it from a material perspective, yes, of course,
Hmm.
millions. But truthfully, I'm so, there's no kids in the background, are they?
No, no.
I'm so fucking in love with my life. And money is not going to change that. It's just going to be the fact that I could do more for other people. But when I take a distance back from money, I'm still joyful. I'm still happy. I have this
Mm.
most extraordinary child who, I mean, calls me names on the daily and he's just so cute. And, he's a busy little boy who knocks his mom on her ass half the time. One day, actually, on the football field, he tackled me and called me a punk ass. I was like, all right, kid, that's, oh my gosh, Jeremy would love this child. But I mean, that's
Uh,
happiness. I have my health. I have my mental health, I've learned is one of the most richest things you can ever have. So long answer to your question, I don't have that desperate need for money as or rich as some others would say. But yes, millions would change my life. Flying private is not a bad thing.
Yeah, I agree. So how much millions? What's the number exactly?
Ooh, I like the idea of 340 million.
340 million. All right, I like that. Now, that number will change a lot of people's lives. I totally agree. Would 3 million also change your life?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And so I think I will say this, most people think their dreams cost more than they think they do.
Yeah.
It just as an example, $40,000 was the number monthly where I was like, if I made $40,000 a month and I was just being real with myself, I'm like, that would fucking drastically change my life, like in a huge way. Like I would be able to pay the mortgage. I'd be able to pay cars. I'd be able to pay bills. I'd be able to go out and eat essentially wherever I wanted to. I'd probably be able to hire a private chef. I most likely could do anything in the gym. I could do anything I want within more or less within reason and have money left over to invest and to save.
Yep.
And $40,000 a month is $480,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And so the reason I'm saying that is because for a lot of people, we really do have this incredible drive to have so much. And I love that energy because the universe is always expanding. We are comprised of universal energy. So we are destined and designed to continue to expand. One of the absolute best practices I ever did with money was get extremely, extremely clear and keep a very what I thought at the time was extremely realistic, extremely tangible, extremely certain number in front of me every day. And I said it every day. I thought about it every day. I gave power to it every day of, all right, $40,000, because 340 million, again, just use your number, just pick your number. I'm just trying to do that on an annual number, 340 times 12. So that's $28 million a month. I would not, and I even right now, would be challenging to wrap my head around that type of income and what I would be doing, what type of life that would be, what I would be doing every single hour, what I'd be doing every single day. And more importantly, what type of actions could I, the humble Jerremy, produce and provide to create $28 million a month? I don't have that consciousness right now. However, I could sit down and go, 40,000 a month though, I could do that because I was at 10 when I started asking this question.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right. So like if I just worked essentially my thought process, I mean, was if I could just work 4 times more.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time I was working 40 hours, 50 hours a week. So I was like, okay, I don't know if I can work 160 hours a week, but I was like, can I work 80 hours a week and make double? And guess what? I did. So from 40, I worked 40 hours. I went to 80 hours. I literally made twice as much money. I was like, amazing. This is great. Now I'm making $20,000 a month, but now I'm running short on time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started to figure out ways to like optimize, and I started taking like extra cash that I made from work and pouring it into certain assets.
Mm-hmm.
And to the original point, that asset happened to be Apple. And I started trading a lot of Apple and silver, two things I think everyone knows and everyone understands.
Mm-hmm.
And this is back in 2010. But here's the cool part for every single one of your listeners, that is an actual formula for financial freedom. It's a success. It's a guarantee. It's not maybe this will work, maybe it won't. It's like, no. This is an actual formula. It is a math guarantee. Is if you make a bunch, invest a decent amount, and spend a little, you will become financially free, which for the vast majority of anyone I ever speak to on this earth is somewhere between $10,000 and $40,000 a month. Everything above that is awesome, fun, amazing, really incredible, and really cool. But it simply isn't needed or required to tap into that energy of financial freedom.
And so when you talked about making that leap, and of course, yes, you can work more and you can do that, but what about the energetic leap? Because there's so much talk about our financial thermostats and how you expand it. And of course, there's the concept that God provides for your needs, not your desires. What did you do within yourself, energetically, mindset? Because again, from what I understand is that when you come at it from need, you're coming into it from a lack energy. So what did you do within yourself to be able to be prepared also for 40,000? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, need is a really, really cool phraseology. I do like that word, but I will say this. if you actually need it, you will get the money for it.
Hmm.
And what it did is it required a certain level of humility to say, and again, at the time, so this is, I'm talking like I'm 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, like that time frame in my life, I was like 40,000, 40,000, 40,000, 40,000. I hit it so many times. But what was really unique was me and God were battling a little bit. So at the time I was like, me, 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 me. I'm gonna put the world on my shoulders. I'm gonna do this myself. I don't need anyone else. I'm gonna figure it out. Right. I can make $500,000 a year. That's not that big of a deal. I'm going to do it. So very ego, very tied in. And so what happened though is I kept losing it. As you probably know a little bit my story for anyone who's listening, like I made millions and lost millions 3 separate times in my 20s. 3 separate times. On the fourth time, which was 2017, I was like, all right, I don't know who you are up there. I don't like you. But I will say this, I do believe in the universe at this point, right?
Yeah.
So 2017, what was that? Like 9 years ago, 8 years ago? I was like, all right, I believe in something big. I believe in something cosmic. The energy of need. I'm going to need more money because what I'm going to start doing is start giving it away.
Mhm.
I'm going to start pouring it into other people. I'm going to start hiring a lot of other people. I'm going to start growing. I'm going to start leaning into me rather than doing what I thought was doing, which is just building as a big of a pot as possible. Because a lot of people, the energetic shift that you asked about, they want to make as much money as possible. They want to make more and more and more and more and more. And they never stop to go, okay, this is a really cool number. I said when I hit this number, I would do X, Y, Z.
Mhm.
This is a very big point. Most people never do that XYZ point.
Huh.
Perfect example. I've had hundreds of clients, fortunately, unfortunately, that say, when I hit $1 million, Newsome, I'm gonna donate 100,000.
Huh.
And I go, oh, I don't think so, dude. Like, I
Yeah.
doubt it. And I
Yeah.
get them to $1 million. I get them to $1 million because that's, again, pretty easy. Depends how much we're starting with, obviously, but it's like they get to $1 million and then they feel really weird about donating 100,000.
Yeah.
They feel really weird and they just don't do it
Yeah.
generally
Wow.
because they don't want to go back from that $1 million mark.
Yep.
They don't want to go back from that big, amazing hurdle and like milestone they just hit.
Yeah.
But if you create something and to the point that now you need more money because you just gave it away, the law of the universe is the more you give, the more you receive. So just back to your point, it is having a strong intention and need for your money and actually implementing it because you will always rise to the level of your standards. That's why everyone who needs the money for whatever they need the money for, they got it. If someone's addicted to drugs, is it crazy enough that they always find enough money to get to the drugs? If someone's addicted to the gym and yet they don't have an amazing house, but they have all the money for the workouts, the pre-supplement, all the things, we always get money for what we need.
Mhm.
So my thing is, if we find a cool, energetic, awesome way to literally shift it into a law of abundance, which the law of abundance begins with get clear, and the number 2 is start giving. You do those 2 energetic shifts and you start needing more, you'll start receiving more.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that book. Is it the 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And so that's why tithing, it has to start with tithing. It's not doing it afterwards. It starts with tithing and then it grows. And I love it. It's the law of abundance and law of assumption there. Tell me about abundance and your thoughts of abundance because you speak about this so much. And I think there's such beauty in how you share it. So dive into that one for me.
Yeah, the best dance is abundance.
Ooh.
You know, it's a really, really fantastic energy. I love the energy of abundance because what the energy of abundance is realizing how big it is out there and how small you are. That's what abundance is. And it attacks your heart for a second because you have to sit down and go, listen, you are playing small and you think you're playing big.
Yeah.
Here's an example. If someone's making $50,000, they are selfish. They're not humble. They're selfish. Because if you're making 50,000 US dollars a year, you're in a spot financially where you could literally only give hundreds, maybe $1,000 or $2 to charity, to your church, to your community. And who can you really help with $1,000 a year? Like, well, what's $1,000 a year really going to do for a lot of people? It's like you could potentially help one person, maybe 2 if they're in a different country, but you're not really, like, you're not building schools.
Mm.
You're not building churches. You're not building hospitals. No one's naming roads after you. No one's naming civic centers after you. No one is saying, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much for these computers and these school supplies and for these books." They're saying, "Thank you for the book. Thank you for the pencil. Thank you for the pen." And what it does is it reminds you that there is so much out there. That's what the law of abundance stipulates. The law of abundance stipulates that it's a magnitude bigger than you. Great example. Everyone here listening to your podcast has heard of the company Tesla. So Tesla, company that everyone's heard about, every single day does approximately on average 80 billion US dollars in and out of the US stock market. Every day, just Tesla,
Yeah.
80 billion by itself,
Yeah.
Monday through Friday. 5 days a week times eight, that's 350 billion
Yeah.
dollars a week. 1% of 350 billion is $3.5 billion. Like, that is a month. I mean, there's going to be $1 trillion US dollars is going to flow in and out of Tesla. 1% of $1 trillion is 10 billion, right? 100 billion is 10% of 1 trillion. Like, that is such mind-blowing numbers. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But now when you start zooming back in and you go, okay, well, none of that means anything to me, Newsome. I'm trying to pay my $7,000 credit card bill. Like, okay, cool. Well, if you know that Tesla does this every single day, what's stopping you from getting a percentage of that?
Mm-hmm.
And someone might go, it's knowledge. I have no idea on how to do that. I go, okay, cool. Well, all of my education is free.
Mm-hmm.
Now what's stopping you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't have the time. I mean, it's pre-recorded online. It's available for you. You can download it 24/7, 365. What now? And then they're going to go through a line of excuses. And what it will really come down to is I don't believe in myself enough. And I don't really want that much money. And I don't really think I'm allowed to get it. I don't really think that's for me. I don't really think that I need that much because I'm pretty comfortable where I'm at now. And I don't think there's a massive need to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
And that's abundance. Abundance is sitting in that energy going, why aren't you playing bigger?
Yes.
And every time I get told that, every time I was told that in my life, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
In fact, that's one of the reasons I married my wife.
Yep.
She was the first person to say, hey, I see you and I'm looking upon you and I see a man that was destined and called for greatness and has not been answering the phone. Okay. Wow.
Here we go.
There we go.
It's even the mentality of it. Because I remember speaking to Svetlana and, she was working on her pricing for her healing. And, and it's something that I also work through because I'm also a healer and, healers don't get paid this much. And there's such a limited belief around all of it. And you said to her, well, by healing somebody's inner child or healing their life, you are completely, fundamentally transforming your life and doing that for your clients. So what price do you put on that level of transformation? And I was like, yes, that's exactly it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, because they'll value it more, and she did it to me, and I know the power and the frequency change from that. But again, I mean, to your point, all this is just this exploration of energy. And one of my favorite things that I've ever been asked by another client was like, okay, Newsome, but what about the super, super, super rich people? Do they do all this woo-woo energy work? And I usually say, maybe, kind of, although they might not necessarily talk about it. Like, I mean, we know Jay Shetty has, and Joe Dispenza has, and Lewis Howell has, but like, did Mark Zuckerberg, did Mark Cuban, did Elon Musk do this? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I haven't spoken to them, but I can say what they did do is they got energetically aligned. They got energetically aligned with the ability to say no, with the ability to focus, with the ability to sacrifice, right? Not going out to parties, not going out to do drinks, not doing any drugs, like working 19 hours a day and dialing in their system where they just said no to every single thing except the thing that mattered to them. And to me, that's also an energy. Yeah. It's a very, very powerful energy because they were able to see what moved the needle and what didn't. And they only spent time on what moved the needle. They only spent time on what create impact and monetary optimization. That by itself is a fantastically interesting frequency to be on because it doesn't mean that they had to sit down and write down their manifestations. But mentally, when they woke up, guess what they thought about?
Mhm.
They didn't think about girls. They didn't think about going to the club. They didn't think about Versace. They thought about how can I create this and how
Mhm.
many people is it going to help? And that
Mhm.
was their song every single day for decades. And to that point, that's also an energy.
I love that. How would you define frequency?
Frequency is what you do frequently.
Ooh.
That's what it is, champion. Like frequency truly is how your body vibrates. And when you say vibrates, it's like at the energy level that everyone has, what is it that you do? And that is what you will attract. Let's say you're at your house and it's nighttime and it's like 8 o'clock on a Friday night and you hear this music next door, but it's your favorite song.
Mhm.
And they just keep playing song after song after song. Like, man, this DJ is a banger. Like, are you going to walk over there and check out what's going on? Probably.
Mhm.
Probably if they're playing your favorite music, you're like, who is this? Why are they playing my favorite music? Now, if
Mhm.
they're playing music that you do not like, that you do not enjoy, and they're playing it too loudly, now you're going to get annoyed. Now you're going to get upset. And that is really interesting example of frequency. Like whatever vibration anyone has in their body, in their system, in their mind, in their awareness, that's what they're going to create, attract, or repel.
Mhm.
And you can vibrate, you can have the frequency of abundance, you can have the frequency of prosperity, you can have the frequency of happiness, and you will be around those people that operate primarily in that zone of genius. I'll give you a really fun example. I heard a complaint the other day in a restaurant and I felt weird.
Mhm.
I felt like uncomfortable and strange. Now, when I say I heard a complaint, what I mean is I heard someone complaining to their server about how terrible their food was, which I would assume in most restaurants is relatively perfectly normal. The reason I even noticed it is my wife never complains. I never complain. And none of my friends ever complain.
Mhm.
We don't complain. We don't say, this is happening to me. This is frustrating. This is annoying. This sucks. I can't believe Biden. I can't believe Trump. I can't believe the police. I can't believe the fire department. I can't. No one complains. We go, this is what happened for me. What an interesting situation. Let me tell you
Mhm.
about this crazy coincidence that popped up. Let me share with you this miracle that got bestowed upon me and then what I did to correct it. And I just think this is the most fascinating thing. I'm going to show you how I impacted and reacted on my emotions.
Yes.
I don't interact with negative people at all. And it's
Yeah.
just such a foreign world to me. But that's an example of frequency.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love it. I love it. What would you say is the frequency or the energy of currency? Well, or and the language of currency, because I've seen that written about you. What's the language of currency? The frequency of currency.
Yeah. Liquidity. That's
Ooh.
that's the language. The language of currency is liquidity, and the language that it speaks specifically is candlesticks. So candlesticks is a very, very particular language given to us by the Japanese
Mhm.
that is portrayed visually on stock charts.
Mhm.
So, stock charts, crypto charts, futures, forex, commodities, you can visually see what's referred to as human sentiment, also known as human psychology, human emotion. You can know, touch, see, feel, and understand how someone is feeling and interacting based on a visual interpretation of how they bought, how they sold, and how they feel. And I can look at a chart and very, very quickly identify how someone's feeling. And based on how they're feeling, I can take advantage of what might happen next, the excitement or the fear that might step into the marketplace. But to your point, the truest vibration of money is liquidity, and liquidity is what most people do not have. Right?
Mm.
Their money is very, very often always tied up into random things that they don't know, they don't enjoy, they don't understand, that's not sexy. They haven't spent any time understanding, energy, or effort really, really intimately knowing what they're putting their money into. And so it just becomes a stagnant, boring, basic, blase thing that doesn't really draw any overall excitement or happiness. And
Mhm.
if your money's happy and it's moving faster, you're going to be happy and you're going to move faster
Mhm.
because money is a relationship energy. And the better relationships you have with people and with yourself, the better relationship you're going to have with money.
Oh, I love that. You're a projector in human design, right?
My son Gabriel actually is. I believe I'm a manifester in the human design.
Hey, I heard you were a projector, which is why I bring this up, because I'm a projector as well. And
Nice.
when we actually create, build money, receive clients all in the 5D, which has been such a massive deconditioning for me because I've had seven-figure businesses. I've always been able to make money. And then all of a sudden, as the world has shifted, it's actually been harder for me. But it's actually, we create money through love, but love for ourselves, recognition of ourselves. It's through having the best relationships, but it's really through self-validation, mirror work, telling ourselves we're amazing, and not through external validation. And so when you talk about how it's a relationship in ourselves, for us projectors, money it's so important actually that we have this extraordinary relationship with ourselves, because in that flow, that's what attracts clients to us, and that's what attracts money to us. And it really is the relationship that we have with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep. Absolutely.
wow, I love it. Money grows on trees. I love this concept. And there will also be a link in the podcast notes to the book, but your book, Money Grows on Trees. Let's talk about that concept.
Yes. Heck yeah. So that really is the cool just awareness that energy of abundance. This was probably when I first started truly stepping into it and knowing and understanding it and seeing it and feeling it a little bit more about what it is. But money grows on trees essentially truly means that if you have a formula and you believe the problem that you're trying to solve is money, that is not the problem, because money grows on trees. It's right there.
Yeah.
Go figure it out. It's not the money that's holding someone back. It is always something else. Now, you could easily say to yourself, that's the stupidest concept in the world because, dude, I want to buy a private jet and I don't have enough money to buy a private jet. It's like, well, do you want to buy a private jet or do you want to fly in a private jet? Those are two different things. Because most people who want to buy a private jet who have $0 have never flown on a private jet.
Yep.
Ever. So then it could be, what could you do, or is it even humanly or remotely possible for you to get on that jet with $0? And then the answer becomes, well, maybe, but I'd have to probably know somebody or provide enough value or help. And then you're like, oh, so you're saying it's not the money. It's probably time, it's probably energy, it's probably something else entirely. Money grows on trees concept truly is about the resources. The resources of money is there. If you want the thing, you simply need to really sit down with yourself and pre-plan, why do you want it? Why is it important to you? And start acting as if, start realizing and knowing that the money is there, is available, it is yours. Find it and move it into the thing, into the place, into what it is that you truly want and desire.
Oh my gosh, I love that. What do you think about the whole concept of acting as if or fake it till you make it? What do you think about that?
It works. It does. It works very well. The biggest answer to that question is most people, that's why they have imposter syndrome. It's because they are faking it.
Yeah.
Right. My wife likes to say, like, if you have imposter syndrome, sometimes you have the syndrome and sometimes you're an imposter.
Yeah.
Where like fake it till you make it, it's like, why? Right? Why fake it? Why not just be that thing? And again, if you're like, well, Newsome, I don't have $1 billion, so I'm trying to act as if I have $1 billion. I'm doing the vision board, I'm doing all those things. It's like, well, cool, but again, why $1 billion? Why not 7 million? Like $7 million is so much flipping money. You can buy any house in the entire world that you want for $7 million. Why $1 billion?
Yeah.
That might not be your number. That's probably your ego talking to you, right?
Yeah.
Most likely. And so the thing is, acting as if you say to yourself, all right, well, I want to act as if I have $7 million in my account, and then I am able to buy the nicest house in the country that I really want, and the nicest place ever. Okay, cool. Now we're talking, because then you can start going to those places. You start going to wherever you want to live with $7 million, because you have that clarity, and you're going to those cities, and you're going to those gated communities, and you're going to those cliffs, and you're going to those locations, and you're going into open houses, right? You're putting yourself in the environment.
Yeah.
And if you do that, it's a lot different than the energy of fake it till you make it. But ultimately, they both can work. The truest act of manifestation is act as if it has already happened in your mind, because what the true science behind it, in my opinion, is people are afraid of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
That's their biggest fear.
Yes.
Their biggest fear is the unknown. So if you can make it known faster, your fear drops precipitously. And if your fear drops, you become more comfortable with it. If you become more comfortable with it, it's faster. It can come into your life faster.
And that's nervous system regulation and also taming the ego. Because when
Mhm.
you are playing that small, you're not stuck in ego from an arrogant perspective. You're stuck in ego from a fear perspective. And
Mhm.
here and there, you will never have the impact that you want to have.
Mhm. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I love this. Anything else to add as we wrap?
I mean, there's so much, but I'll say this. When people say get clear, I think understanding how awesome money is and why truly you want it or need it, and then put yourself in those situations where you can experience it as quick as possible, because you'll get addicted to it. And if you get addicted to anything, your brain will always find ways to bring that into your life. And if you can do it more frequently, what you do more frequently becomes your frequency. And when you operate from that frequency, you'll start attracting it. People will come into your life. You said that you attract clients all the time. You built $1 million businesses. Like, shoot, that is simple, easy, quick, efficient, and effective. But you got to be that person. You got to think like that person. And then last, first, foremost, you got to give. It is the number one law I see people step over all the time, is they go win, 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 win. Someday, 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 I will, I will, I will. But they never actually give. As soon as we hang up this call, every time I do and I talk about the law of abundance, I go give money, because it always comes back to me. Something always shifts. I'm always able to step into grace, step into gratitude a lot faster. And just knowing that and seeing it work so many times, so frequently, and so often, I just know that's the key. That's the key to magnetism, is giving and sitting and being and feeling that reward.
I know this man who owns a whole chain of natural food stores worth 20, $30 million. He's won the lottery of $100,000 twice.
That's
Just
cool.
like Ed, but he's so grateful and he gives so much and he's just the kindest man. And he's just like, I don't need to win the lottery. So he just finds a charity to give it to. But of course, he's attracting that because of his level of greatness and generosity and philanthropy. But I'm just mind boggled that he's like, oh, yeah, I won $100,000 again. You know,
That's
and he's like, it was the second time. And I just looked at him
that's
and I thought, of course. Yeah,
yeah, of course you. Why not you?
he did. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Jerremy.
You're
So excited
welcome.
to have you on. Listen to this, re-listen to this, get all the nuggets. Follow Jerremy on Instagram. We'll have all of the details in the podcast show notes. And stay tuned. Thank you, Jerremy.
Thanks so much, champion. You rock.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Powerful Podcast. I've so enjoyed sharing all of my insights, all my mistakes, all of my learnings as I grew and scaled my business from 6 to 7 figures. If you enjoyed this, please leave us a review. And then I'll send you back my top 3 ways to make $10,000. And I tell you, they're super easy, super creative, and super easy for you to implement. So please drop us the review, send it over, and we will send you back with my top 3 ways to make $10,000.